After thinking it through over and over again, I finally did it. I cut my own hair by myself. First time ever. And I filmed it, so you can watch me cut my hair. And I did it like a little tutorial, so you can probably cut your own hair in the future too. I did not come up with this method. I'm just going to show you how it works on my super long hair. Maybe you already know the video I did with my friend Heike where she shows you how to cut your own hair, but this is German and her hair is a lot shorter than mine, so this is why I'm doing this again. By the way, if you're interested, I have 2 more videos where I'm showing how Heike is cutting my hair and one where I'm cutting a friend's hair. I'm going to link them all down below. Now let's get started. But before you do cut your hair, you need to prepare some things. First of all, I need a measuring tape to make sure how much I'm going to cut. Second, I have a variety of combs and brushes to make sure my hair is tangle-free when cutting it. Then there's something I showed you several times already. It's a simple spray bottle to wet your hair. Last but not least, scissors. You don't have to spend a fortune on scissors to cut your hair, but please don't go with just a regular household scissors. There are scissors with a so-called micro-toothing, which helps you to have more grip when cutting your hair, but they are also less sharp, so my scissors are without this. You will also need some hair ties. I forgot to show them, sorry. As already mentioned, I'm going to measure my hair. For this, I'm starting at my hairline. Indeed, this is not going to tell you the real length of your hair, but by this you will always have the same starting point and you can easily measure how much your hair has grown or how much you did cut off. If you have someone to help you with this, go for it. Otherwise, I'm going to show you how you can maybe do it yourself. It's not as accurate, but it works also. Stand straight and hold your hair tightly together with the measuring tape, then bring it to the front and read how long your hair is. I'm starting with 131 centimeters. And to make sure this was correct, I'm just going to repeat it. Go for the value if you get the same twice. Before cutting your hair, you want to make sure it's tangle-free, so brush it thoroughly from the bottom to the top. Make sure there are no knots or anything left. Make sure you wear the same parting as you do normally. For me, this is a side parting. And from there, you go on in the middle, divide your hair into 2 equal sections and bring them to the front. I'm doing this with the comb. You can also do it with your fingers. The first step is going to create a V-shape, and the angle is defined by the direction you're looking into. I want an U-shaped hemline, but if you're going for a V-shape, this is the only step you need to do. Look up to get a rather straight hemline, or look down to get a really deep V-shaped hemline. Look straight if you want something in the middle, like I'm doing. Remember the angle of your head and take your first hair tie. You're going to do pigtails and then pull the hair tie down all the way to your tips. This is why you have to make sure it's really tight, so it still stays in your hair when you pull it down. Maybe brush your hair once more and then look into the direction we just defined. For me, that's straight ahead. Pull the hair ties down while looking exactly into this direction. Don't look down while pulling at your hair. If you do so, you will maybe get a deeper V shape than you wanted. If you look down and you notice this, just start over again. To control if your hair ties are at the same height or at the same length of your hair, please use a mirror. Of course you can move your head around, but not while pulling at the hair ties. Hold the hair tightly in one hand and brush the tips carefully once more. It can also be helpful to wet your hair a little bit. You can see my ends are not at the same length here in this ponytail. This is because I'm changing from a rather deep to a flatter U shape. If you want your shape to stay the same, the ends should be at the same length too. To hold your tips extra tight, you can use the technique I just showed you using 3 fingers. Now grab your scissors. Don't get too excited. And just cut straight above your index finger. Of course, you can also use this technique for a micro trim, so then just hold your fingers higher and trim less, but I wanted to go for a bigger cut. You can see I'm just cutting it bit by bit in tiny steps due to the fact that my scissors don't have micro toothing. Oh, I love how brush-like this looks and feels. There's nothing better than the feeling of fresh cut hair, don't you agree? Repeat the exact same thing on the other side. For this, I'm holding both sides together to make sure I'm cutting the same amount of hair. Yes, it's very important you cut the same amount or the same length on both sides. If you feel uncertain about this point, it's no problem. Just do like I'm doing. First cut less than you did on the other side, and then compare both sides. And feel free to repeat any step of what I just showed you. If you think both sides are even, just remove the hair ties and bring your hair back together. And use a mirror to check if you're right. So like I'm doing here, look in the back and check the form, or do a picture to control the form. If you're doing it the first time, like me, you can just start all over again and repeat everything. But if you plan to do so, give yourself some room for errors, so don't cut everything in the first step. Give yourself enough time for this. Please don't hurry through cutting your hair. You will regret it. You won't be satisfied in the end. And even if you repeat it like 2, 3, or 4 times, that's totally fine. Just make sure you don't cut too much. And in the end, after step 1, your result can look somehow like this. You can see it's a very flat V, just like I wanted it. On to the next step, I'm going to remove the tip of my V. Or if you want to go for a straight hemline, you can do step 2 only. Gather all your hair in your neck. We will be doing a ponytail again. If your hair is as long as mine, I would recommend not to do the ponytail right at the beginning of your hair, but further down on your back. This way we make sure the hair tie is still really tight on your ponytail once we pulled it down. Once again, we can influence the shape of the hemline by looking down or up, but for a straight hemline and for this step I recommend to just look straight ahead. Once the elastic is tight enough, watch your head and pull it down all the way to your tips. Once you reach the end of your arms, or the end of the hair, whatever comes first, grab your ponytail and bring it to the front, really carefully. You don't want to move anything, it shall be like you pulled it down in the back. Once more, I'm holding all the hair between my 3 fingers and take my comb to brush it carefully. Now take your scissors and cut straight above your index finger once more. With step 1, I cut off several centimeters of my hair, so I have to take off several centimeters here too, but less than in step 1. Of course, if you're doing step 2 only, you can cut off as much as you want. The thicker your ends are, the harder this step is going to be, so give yourself some time and room for errors to maybe repeat this step. With step 1, we created the V shape, and now in step 2, we cut off the tip of the V, you could say, like you can see here. But this is too edgy, the U is not really soft, so we need 2 more steps to finalize it. Once more, part your hair into 2 parts. In this step, I'm not going to cut much, just doing some tiny corrections. Here you can see I'm holding my hair between 3 of my fingers. So once more, take the part of your hair, make sure it's tangle free, and then take the 3 fingers and hold your hair between them. And then pull your hand down. Now bring your hand up carefully, without pulling on the hair. Cut up everything that's not in line with the rest of your hair. In step number 4, our final step, you're going to do something similar, but you take all your hair over one shoulder to the front, brush it carefully, and then hold it with your fingers. With those last 2 steps, you're not supposed to take off any extra length. It's just meant to be a little correction. And of course we need to stay symmetrical, so repeat the exact same thing over your other shoulder. Once more, brush, 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 hold and cut, cut, cut. To make sure you're really finished and everything went well, you need to check your form once more. Probably you did check this with every single step like I did, but yeah, in the end it's mandatory. Make sure to look up straight. If you look over one or the other shoulder, your hemline will not look straight, so it looks like one side is shorter than the other. As you can see, now I'm really happy with the look of my hemline and also how it feels. So I'm going to measure how much hair I just cut off. Remember, we started with around 131 centimeters, and now I got 124 centimeters left. So I cut around 6 centimeters, exactly what I aimed for. Here you can see what this means in hair. And you can easily see this was not a big loss, because those tips don't look really healthy anymore. Yeah, unfortunately I forgot to take a proper before picture, so this is the best comparison I could manage. But you can still see a difference. I hope you enjoyed this and maybe can adapt this to your own hair. Let me know down in the comments if you ever cut your own hair. See you next time, bye!